Hello and welcome to today's Standard Process webinar. Today's presentation is titled Week 4, the Weekly Purification Warrior Journey, and will be presented by Dr. Kimberly Besuden. My name is Tina and I will be moderating today's webinar. And now a brief disclaimer. Standard Process is sponsoring this webinar to provide healthcare information to healthcare professionals and consumers, and to provide them with the opportunity to hear about the views, recommendations, and experiences of other healthcare professionals. Standard Process has not evaluated the legal status of any products other than its own or those of MediHerb Services or recommendations with respect to state or federal laws, including scope of practice. Standard Process does not and cannot accept responsibility for errors or omissions or for any consequences from applications of the information provided, and makes no warranty expressed or implied with respect to the information provided. The views expressed in this webinar concerning Standard Process, MediHerb, or any other products are those of the presenter and not of Standard Process. Today, we are happy to welcome Dr. Besuden to present today's webinar. Dr. Besuden is a Doctor of Chiropractic and Certified Functional Medicine Practitioner. She has created several curriculums with innovative techniques to help not only her patients, but also her colleagues better understand nutrition and its impact on well-being. The Standard Process 21-Day Purification Program is a passion of hers, and she's been teaching the program to healthcare professionals and patients for more than a decade.
Okay, well, congratulations. You've made it to the end. You've done the becoming a successful purification warrior. So now you've made it through the 21 days. So now we've got to do a little bit more for you here, because we didn't want to bring you through this whole program and then just kind of drop you off with nothing else left to do. We want to just make time to create and continue your new normal. So by now you probably noticed you've got better energy, better vitality, or some improved weight management, clearer thinking, and better sleep. But to me, best of all, this experience, for your body, it really helps improve the management of those challenges related to that natural toxin metabolism that we have already built into our body. So it just helps to move that along in a better rate and make us feel better quicker. So congratulations on new you and an improved you. So I always tell my patients, happy new you. So we've got a couple things I want to go through to really get you that new normal status. So since you're the purification warrior now and a successful one, we're going to prepare for a 30-day plan of action so you have continued success as a warrior. You're going to understand the importance of eating organic vegetables and fruits. I think that's really important, that if you understand why, then you're more likely to do that. You're more mindful. We're also going to talk about some advantages of eating local. And for me, I really, try to motivate my patients to select grass-fed beef and free-range chicken and eggs. And then I also want to really importantly, talk about introducing foods back into your diet. And then, a good thing that I like to do in May is to do the 10-day blood sugar support program, because it's a nice kind of like a mini purification program. And in May, in the beginning of May, is a great time to do it, get you ready for the summer. And if you've had a chance to fall off the wagon a bit, then you can get right back on and pick up where you left off. So this is the finale. Congratulations. You're doing this in conjunction with my other two classes, and they've all done really, really well. I hope you've done some, weighing yourself along the way. So I just want to take you by the hand and let you know what else we can kind of look forward to after the program is actually completed. So I always talk about the post-purification program to my patients, and what I realize is, I realized this for myself, but most of my patients don't realize that their body's ability to heal is greater than anyone has ever permitted us to believe. So it's an amazing body. We, drive it around like a garbage truck and, put crappy food in it and then get mad when it breaks down on us. But it's more like a space shuttle. So drive that body like a space shuttle instead. So your first step. So for me, I want to congratulate you. You just finished this 21-day program. So, think about, how do you feel? How is your energy level better? Are you sleeping better? Did your weight change? Do you have fewer cravings? So this is the time to get onto the road of optimal health, and we want to continue making those positive changes to occur in your body. And if you didn't get the 1 Degree of Change cookbook, I'm sure that Tina can include that information, so that she'll give you the number to call so you can get that, or you can download it. She'll give you the link to download it. I think it's a great book to use. Oftentimes patients who haven't started the program yet or are thinking about it, I give them this, I get them to take this book and the guidebook for the purification program and start utilizing some things out of it to begin with, and that gives them kind of a beginning start to getting into that pathway of the purification program. Oftentimes my patients, when I work with them in the functional medicine aspect, oftentimes I will require them to do the purification before we even start any other protocol for them, because we need to start with this clean slate, and the purification program really gives that opportunity to the patient. So when I talk to my patients, these are some of the benefits that my patients have from the purification program. They have improved weight management results, increased energy and vitality, better digestion, less bloating, clearer thinking, clearer skin, shinier hair, better sleep. And I mean, who can't want those? So see if you've experienced some of those yourself. I think that's important to realize the process of the purification and what it actually did for you. And really importantly, digestion is really still key to our health. And I'll touch back on a couple of different things we've talked about over the weeks. But remember, when we eat our food, if it's not digesting in the stomach, it's not breaking down small enough to get into the small intestine to be absorbed. And with those nutrients, if they're not absorbed, actually can set up a little bit of an inflammatory response, and that can come out in the skin, achy joints and things like that. And if the nutrients aren't getting through the small intestine, then the large intestine is not getting its nutrients. And remember, we talked about the large intestine. That's the host for your immune system, as well as 95% of your serotonin is made in the gut. So real important that we've got great health, and if it's not digesting and you're not breaking it down, you won't be able to absorb it. So that's a really important factor. And if you're having any issues with any digestion problems now, at the end, which I have patients that will not have any issues until toward the end of the purification, because I find that the purification will kind of uncover some underlying issues, and then that we can address those. So if you're having this kind of issues, when it talks to your practitioner about maybe some Zypan, which is a digestive enzyme with a little bit of hydrochloric acid, or some Zymex, or some Multizyme, those are 3 digestive enzymes that would help. As patients get older, our systems just slow down, so we need to have some type of support. So that's a great way to kind of help the digestion after the purification program as well. So I always throw this slide in because I want you to remember where you were, because you couldn't get here if you didn't start someplace. So now that you're there, I just want you to remember those poor eating habits really caused a lot of this. And eating under stress, and those people eating on the go. It should be pleasurable, a parasympathetic function where everything's, relaxed and you can enjoy the food and you can taste the food. In our household, if I make a meal and it takes me 40 minutes to make it, I don't want to sit down and wolf it down in 10 minutes. So we sit down at the table, we eat the food, we put our forks down, talk about the day, and take time to enjoy the fruits of our labor. I put a lot of passion and love into the food that I make, so I want that to be enjoyed on the way down and not just irrationally thrown down the hatch and not even regarded. So improper chewing of the food is important, because if you don't break down the food enough, then the hydrochloric acid in your system and the enzymes will have a difficult time properly digesting. Now, 32 times chewing it 32 times before swallowing, I know that sounds a little extreme, but if you get close to half of that, that's better than most people. I mean, it drives me crazy when I see somebody in a restaurant that they take a bite of food and then they immediately wash it down with the liquid. Well, why do we have some digestion problems? There's a big one right there. So, drinking while you're eating, I learned this a long, long time ago. My family, we always did this. We didn't drink during meals. And, that's going to dilute your gastric contents and your digestive juices. So we want those enzymes actively working. We don't want them watered down. So hydrating after your meal or before the meal, a rule of thumb, 1 ounce of water for every 2 pounds of body weight. So that's kind of a guideline. So I want you now to use food for good. You're a purification veteran, so your body needs quality food to be at its best. Remember that those hydrogenated trans fatty acids, those nitrates, those high fructose corn syrup, and sugar needs to be out of your system. And I've explained enough what's going on with those to your body and what happens that you're mindful so you can make those changes. And you should have had some homework that you should have done to clean out those refrigerator doors and those pantry doors to get those foods out of your new lifestyle. So that also helps to support your heart's good health. we don't want you to be another statistic. So we want to really try your best to ease into that sustainable, healthy diet that nourishes your body, those nutrition-rich, fiber-dense foods. So do you have goals now? Well, here's some ideas of thinking about goals. Do you want to maintain your results? Do you want to continue to manage your weight? Do you want to build your immune system? Or do you want to address specific health issues or identify food allergies or intolerance? For me, I can tell you that, that was a main reason why I did the purification, because I wanted to, maintain my weight. I wanted to build my immune system. And I noticed that toward the end of the purification that I was having some digestive issues. So that was real important for me to kind of fix along the way. So the other part we want to talk about is definitely to identify food allergies and intolerance, because this decision we make in all these foods will impact the rest of our life. And you have to make that decision. Are you going to incorporate these healthy changes into your lifestyle, or are you going to go back to your old way and turn back on your wellness? Turn your back on your wellness. And I can tell you honestly, with patients I've taken through the purification over these years, and it's been 13 years now, almost 14, that all the patients said they don't start back over again. I mean, they don't go back to where they were. They at least make one change, whether they get a diet soda out of their lifestyle, or a regular soda out of their lifestyle, or they eat less trans fats, or they eat less fast food. All those little changes add up over a period of time. So think about what yours is going to be. And in your patient guide, there's a food log in there, or a journal in there that you can utilize if you didn't use it during the purification. I think that's a really, really important strategy to help follow through with your new normal. So, you can put in there when we reintroduce foods, what supplement program you're on and what exercises you're incorporating, because I'm not letting you get out of the exercise thing either. So, that helps to the assistant for your new lifestyle is, adding your supplements in, a meal plan, food journal, and your shopping list. On the back of that purification booklet, you have that paper that tears off, that's your shopping list. You should still incorporate that into your daily routine when you do your shopping, because those are still foods you want to incorporate. And I'm not saying you can't have the foods you ate before, but I will tell you that when you try to add those foods back in, one, they won't taste as good, and your body will recognize that it's not a nutritious, rich, and fiber-dense food, so your system won't like it as much. So I talk to my patients about maintenance supplementation, and I mean, the general health daily fundamentals is just really ideal for patients. It's made up of Catalin, which is a multi. I love Catalin because of the support it gives to the adrenal, for adrenal health, and most patients and most everybody in this day and age needs some adrenal support. Trace minerals with B12, and then your tuna omega-3 oil, so that you've got the well-rounded daily fundamental, your general health packet. And the box, and you can kind of see on the side of the box there, that little place tears out, and they're in little individual packets, and the patient can just take those out one a day. You can buy them separate bottles, but the easier I make it for my patients, the more compliant they can be, and the better for their health. So let's talk about the food allergies. So I find that my patients will usually crave the foods that they have an intolerance for. And then if they do eat those foods, they'll have an adrenaline rush after eating them, and then they crash and feel drained and miserable afterwards. So I want you to be careful when you add your foods back in. So there's a few, possible targets associated with food tolerances and intolerances and allergies. And for you, these are some of the reasons why we did the purification to begin with. We did, problems with weight, joints, fatigue, digestion, concentration, sleep, bladder, skin, respiration. So those are all things that we see, and that's one of the reasons a lot of people do the purification program, because they want to see improvement in those things. So when we talk about allergies and intolerance, let's first talk about the food allergy. So the body's immune system determines that a part of the food may irritate your system. It happens very quickly, usually minutes to hours later, for the body to respond. So that's how we discern between an allergy and an intolerance. An intolerance is the digestive system's response to part of that food or additive that it can't process, and that causes the irritation. Just like I was talking about earlier, that if the stomach doesn't have the proper hydrochloric acid, it's not acidic enough, and the enzymes are not available, the food particles are too big when they get into the small intestine, then the small intestine says, no can do. So it's usually a longer time frame, up to a few days later. So most common food allergies: tree nuts, soy, fish, peanuts, shellfish, eggs, wheat, and dairy. And like I said, a lot of people, my patients don't really know they have an allergen that they're sensitive to until after the purification when they add it back in. So when we add our foods in, this time after the purification, you've got a clean slate. And it's a great way to gauge just how that food makes you feel and if it causes you a problem. So that's where that little food journal is great, because you can introduce a food every 48 hours and track how you feel in that food journal so you can remember. You could have a food allergy or an intolerance that you don't even know about, like for my wheat allergy. I didn't even realize that. And how many years have I felt bad because I was eating wheat not knowing that that's what it was. And if a reaction occurs, you want to remove that food and wait at least 72 hours before reintroducing the next food. So this is not the exact order for you to reintroduce them to. I do suggest to do the grains, the eggs after the grains, but make sure you try a range-free or free-range egg, from chickens that are just running around, because if they're feeding those chickens grains, you may have a reaction to that. So be aware of that. Your cheeses and your milk and your yogurts and your butters. Remember, cheese is white because milk is white. Cheese is not orange. I drive my partner crazy when we go to a restaurant and I say, I'm going to get cheese on something, and I always ask them, well, what color is your cheese? And they're always like, orange, of course. And I'm like, no, thank you. So, that's my way of teaching people, but it doesn't always work. So your nuts and seeds, you want portion control on that. Try to do them raw. Shellfish, shrimp, and mussels are also, common allergens. So, try these things if you're aware. And like I said, a key is if you have something you really crave, it's usually an indicator you may have a little intolerance to it. So for your meal plan, your diet should be really complex and nutrient-rich and fiber-dense foods. I mean, if I say that 1,000 times in a day, I probably say it 2,000. And in your patient guide, the Purification Patient Guide booklet is got a wealth of information in there, and it has a place in there that talks about weight maintenance, and it keeps in mind your BMR, which we talked about week before last, and exercise. So that way you're getting enough calories to support your body's needs. And if you're trying to have better weight management, you'll increase your exercise and watch your portion control, definitely. And so if you have these goals, I encourage my patients to talk to me about them. And we usually know about them when they start the program, because I know why they start their program. But talk to your healthcare provider for any information on continuing a weight management program from the start of this 21-day purification program. And in the book, I mean, I cannot tell you the wealth of recipes are in there. And my patients, we have a secret Facebook page, and they make the recipes out of the book, and then they post them on the page, or our secret page, or private page. And the foods they put out are just fabulous. I'm ready just to go to their house for dinner every night. So be creative and try some different things. Don't get stuck in that same rut, because then you get bored, and that makes you teeter off the wagon there. We don't want that to happen. So shopping list, remember on the back of that Purification Guidebook, there's that little perforated panel that comes off that is your shopping list. And you want to make sure you plan ahead when you go shopping. Don't go shopping hungry, because that makes us make bad choices. My #1 rule still is buy twice as many veggies as fruit, because remember, if you're trying to have a weight management, be successful in that weight management, you want to watch your fruits, because that'll deter your weight management program if you eat too much fruit, too much sugar. So your best bet is always fresh and organic. You want to shop the outer ring of the grocery store. So if you go in those big box stores and you're going up and down the aisles, there's nothing in those aisles that you need. I will guarantee it. So remember, when we go to the fruit stand or the veggie stand, you pick up a piece of zucchini or an apple, there is no ingredient list on there. So when you look through the store and you're going up and down the aisles, the more ingredients are going to be on those boxes and cans and bags. So try to stay in the outer ring of the grocery store. And that doesn't mean you get to dip into the ice cream center or the bakery. So just going to keep going past that. And then try a co-op in your area. I mean, everybody has a co-op, and I realize, I'm in Florida, and we have, a better climate down here for year-round, food, and still eating seasonally is important. I mean, we eat more, salads and lighter veggies in the summertime, where in the wintertime we eat more winter squashes and sweet potatoes and heavier foods because of the cold weather. And I know we don't have that cold weather down here, but that's still kind of seasonally. That's when those foods go. So, be aware of that. Look in your community, see if you have opportunities. So, and try some new veggies. I mean, jicama is it's an edible root, and it kind of looks like a turnip, but it's kind of a potatoey, starchy, vegetable. And so you can cut them up and slice them and roast them. That's what we do. We do jicama fries and cut them thin and make them with a little olive oil and cayenne pepper. So you've got that, and rutabaga. I love rutabaga. It's got kind of a thick, waxy outside cover, but on the inside it's kind of orange. And I just cut it up and boil it a little bit, and then mash it like a mashed potato with a little bit of real butter on there. So it's delicious, and another alternative. People who see these things, they don't really know how to prepare them. Remember, the internet is a wealth of information. And elephant garlic. This is my favorite garlic in the whole wide world. But I always do the caveat, the warning: do not eat before social events where close conversation will be taking place. So I don't see patients on Friday, so I'm allowed to have garlic on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then I have to be aware of my patients. So this is a meal that we fixed for the purification. There was cedar plank salmon. Those are heirloom sweet potatoes, and sautéed spinach with mushrooms and tomatoes. So, and that all has plenty of garlic on it. No vampires in our household. So remember to choose local and organic, best you can. And if you can't, do the best you can. There are places that are available for you. Try your local beef and chicken. Look for grass-fed and grass-finished beef, and those animals may be less likely to have antibiotic and hormone exposure. So check with your local co-ops first, and then I recommend a website called Eat Wild, and you can go in there and plug in your state or your locale, and they'll give you options that are available to you. Look for chickens and eggs that are free range, and that means that the chickens are running around outside with Dr. Sunshine. Our local chicken lady, she grows heirloom wheat and barley to feed the chickens, and then they eat insects like mealworms. So we get our eggs and also our chickens when they're available from her. And then you can also source it yourself. There's a website called localharvest.org, and that's another way to source your local and organic chickens and eggs. And remember, you're going to get this program tomorrow. Tina will send this back out to you, so the websites will be in there. So make sure you resource those. And then there's another website that I like to refer patients to. It's called organic.org, and they just have a really cool mission about educating people and the benefits of organic agriculture. We just don't have time to go into all the detail, and this is really a great place to start if you're not familiar. And it's got some stuff for the kids to do, and I think it's really important that the whole family eats that way and learns to eat that way and learns to love food that way, because I think that is a gift for kids as they grow up, because they don't have to make changes that a lot of the adults do because they were brought up on different diets. So they have a lot of organic education, and it's easy and it's fun. So that's a pretty cool website. So when we're talking about foods, you start getting up down those aisles in the store, you're going to have more ingredients. So I always say to my patients, does your food make you look pretty? So a lot of cosmetic chemicals are in fast food. That's another reason why we want to stay with those whole foods, and they're much better for us than the processed foods. So sodium sterol lactylate, well, that's found in shampoo and soap, and they use it as a dough conditioner for burgers and buns. The calcium disodium, it's found in skin products and hair conditioners to stabilize, and we use it in food well, we don't use it, but it's used in food as a flavor protectant in fast food sauces, dips, and dressings. So ammonium is found in facial mask products, and it's also used as a flavor enhancer and a flavoring agent. That just ruins my appetite right there. Propylene glycol is found in shampoo, mouthwash, and hand sanitizers, and it gives most of today's foods and beverages their distinctive taste. It's a little scary to think that your shampoo and your burger that you're having are on the same chemical pathway there. Benzoyl peroxide is found in acne creams, and we use it to bleach white flour to make it look white. So the EWG.org has another just wealth of information. So just try to resource some of those. So your daily diet for your new normal: continue to eat your whole foods and limit your high-calorie refined foods and oils and trans fats. You want to eat nutrient-rich, high-fiber, whole, unprocessed foods to protect your body. Try to plan 1 week at a time and use the cookbook to do that, and that'll help you do some creative menu planning. Still continue your shakes every morning. I mean, I do the shakes because it's easy. 9.3 seconds I can do it, and yes, I've timed it. And then talk to your healthcare professional. We weigh our patients in the 30, 60, and 90-day mark just to kind of keep them keep tabs on them and keep them motivated in their pathway. So if you're, steps to eating well and being green, we notice that when we're eating Purification, we have a lot of extra waste from the vegetables, so I didn't want to throw it away, so I started composting. So then what I encourage my patients to do, I did an Eat Local Challenge, eat food within 10 miles of your radius from your home. I talked to them about joining an organic co-op, eating organic raw food restaurant at least once a month, grow at least one vegetable, plant a butterfly garden to support those vegetables, compost, and of course recycle. And that's just part of continuing that healthy lifestyle. So your plan of action, visit the EWG website because they have two lists, the Dirty Dozen and a Clean 16. That'll help make better fruit and veggie selections that are going to be better grown. You want to explore products that you eat, that you put on your skin, and that you clean your home with. Make that 1 degree of change. So you'll have roadblocks along the way. Just make sure you set a reasonable weight management goal. Don't underestimate the number of calories in foods. Prepare for your social gatherings. Use portion control. Use new foods so you don't get bored. And then limit those highly processed, refined foods in your food planning, and limit your alcohol and caffeine. I'm not saying you can't have it. You just need to limit it. So, if you're out eating, you don't take a measuring cup or a spoon with you. So I kind of put these recommendations together to be able to kind of eyeball things when you're looking at it, what the size it is or what the portion is. So you'll have this information when Tina sends out the program to you tomorrow. So, life happens. Our human tendencies will take us right back to the bad foods that made us feel bad in the first place. So keep in mind that you can do the Purification program 1 to 2 times per year to help keep you focused on your wellness, and just takes 21 days. Or, like I said, in May, 10-day blood sugar program is awesome. And so we're here to support you. So keep up the exercise, a little something every day, 30 to 60 minutes every day is my goal for my patients. 10,000 steps. And remember, you can continue this protocol for a lifetime. It makes this your new normal.